Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome back to the second video. We are covering the topic Let's Encrypt, and this is the demo video. So let's get to it. To see how Let's Encrypt works both for HTTP and DNS challenges, we need to make sure that the DNS itself, the name resolution, is set up correctly 100%, and these are some steps which I've listed for you. Your web server should be publicly accessible because HTTP challenge requires that. Your DNS should be publicly accessible because the certificate server will resolve the name of your virtual host with that domain name. I mean with the availability of the zone publicly. And also certbot would need to go and adjust the DNS in case you're using DNS challenge. You need to have all the firewalls allowing access for incoming traffic for port 80 and 443. You need to have Apache or Nginx installed on the web server, and possibly with some virtual hosts. And I'm talking about a testing or a learning environment. Make sure you can reach those virtual hosts using plain HTTP, and then you install certbot Apache, or certbot Nginx for your case, and certbot DNS root 53, which is for me. Your DNS could be anywhere on any of the supported DNS services. Mine is hosted on Amazon's root 53. And then you run certbot run test cert, so that will give you a staging certificate, and if you run without test cert, it will give you a production certificate. But it's not so easy, right? Not just these two commands. These are just two simple points. So let's dive into it. I have this repository, github.com/kamranazim/learn Let's Encrypt, and inside it I have this sort of how-to or a guide, and most of these steps are covered here. And the diagrams we have seen during the presentation or the theory lecture, those diagrams are also here, both for HTTP and DNS challenges. And we have some prerequisites, so we'll start working with those prerequisites right away. So I have some host names or DNS names configured. In my DNS zone file, I have a wildcard DNS name, which is a CNAME pointer to jumpbox.demo.wbit.com, and of course my domain name is demo.wbit.com. And then jumpbox is actually pointing to a public IP address. And here is a screenshot of my domain zone file. You can see it here. It's a wildcard domain name, wildcard entry, which is pointing to jumpbox.demo.wbit.com, and it has a public IP address. Now I want to show you this. It is here. So this is my root 53 hosted zone for demo.wbit.com, and you see this setup, and this IP address, it's a public IP address. And where is it? So I have some instances running here, and I have this jump box. I can show it to you. Oops. right? So here's this jump box, and you see it has this public IP address, the same one. The purpose of this jump box is just to allow SSH into my network. So it's a nano instance, very small one. And you will also notice that in the security groups I have allowed security group HTTP and HTTPS from anywhere, and the rules for that security group are shown here. This is that security group, and it says incoming or inbound, TCP port 80, allow from everywhere, 443, allow from everywhere. Very good. So I have this in place, and I want to make sure that my name resolution works, right? So I will just do a dig on my terminal on my home computer, and I should get a response to 3.121.158.2.11. And now, since it's a wildcard entry, I can actually resolve anything like XYZ. I can resolve dog and whatever, ABC, random, it works. So now the only thing which I have to do is set up few virtual hosts in Apache. I don't have to configure the entire internet or the entire dictionary actually, but this is just to make sure that name resolution works, and every time I'm pointed to this IP address. I need certbot Apache, and certbot DNS root 53, which I have already installed on my server, which is here. I've logged into it, and yum list certbot, so it's installed. It will show up as installed. Yes, and the other components as well. Right, and I am using Fedora 29 on my server and Apache 2.4 on top of that as the web server. Very good. Make sure you configure Apache correctly. So for that you need to have some directory structure in place so that you can create your virtual host configurations correctly. So I have this in place. If I do tree, I see under var www host I have these 3 directories with simple index.html each, and I've added this content to each index.html which exists, and I need to have this in my virtual host file. So let's verify that this exists as it says here. Very good. I have these virtual hosts which are just plain virtual hosts. dog.demo.wbit.com goes to this special directory named dog, cat goes to cat, jumpbox goes to jumpbox, and then there's another host named jumpbox.witpass.co.uk, and that goes to a separate document root. We are not going to request SSL certificates for that. It exists because it needed to. All right. We have Apache running. Let's just make sure it is running. System control status HTTPD. It works. Sorry, I'm too fast, so it shows it's running, it's active. Change screen again. I've already shown you that on Amazon's security group, the HTTP and HTTPS ports allow incoming traffic. I just want to make sure that it is also enabled on the host firewall, so I'll check IP tables -list, And here I see some Docker related rules, because Docker is installed on this server but it's not actually running. I'm not running any containers on it, the service is running. But I don't see any rules which are going to be any problem, so I'm hoping for the best. By the way, if you're using Red Hat based distributions like CentOS or Fedora or Red Hat itself, and it's a test system, a learning system, then you should disable SE Linux, or you should strive for configuring it correctly. The best is to just disable it on the test system, because it just gets into your way. Right, make sure you can access the virtual host over private, over plain HTTP, and that's what we are going to do from a terminal, from a computer on the internet, which is my local computer here. And I can get cat and dog and jump box. Very good. So I've ensured, notice the steps, I've ensured the name resolution works. I've ensured that I can access my virtual hosts over the internet and access them from the correct web server, because that is an important step when you do the certificate requests from the LetsEncrypt certificate servers. Right, let's do this, get the staging certificate, and you can run this to get the staging certificate. But before you do that, it's a good idea to run a dry run, and I will adjust this file later on. Let me show you. Go to the server, do a certbot run -- Apache. Instead of test run, you do dry run. What dry run will do is to just talk to the server and ensure that the mechanism is there. It will not pull any certificate, even the staging certificate, it will not pull it. And then you just let me just be efficient a bit. All right, certbot complains that dry run will only run with the command called cert only, so I will do that. Cert only. So it goes and talks to the LetsEncrypt server, and before that it asks me which names I want to activate HTTPS for. Let's use cat. I like cats. So it's obtaining new certificate, but it just says dry run was successful. So let's check if there are any certificates on the system. Certbot certificates. Oops, certbot, sorry. No certs found. Very good, because it was just a dry run. So now I'm going to run the actual command, which is test cert. Was that test cert? Yes. Certbot run Apache test cert preferred challenges HTTP. Right. So now, and you can this time, like in the on the screen, what you see here is I did not provide a DNS name for which virtual host I want certificate for, so it asked me here. I can provide with the -d and the name cat.demo.wbitt.com, but let me show you without that first. So let's press enter. Okay, what names would you like to activate HTTPS for? Let's use cat. Obtaining new certificate. All right, created an SSL vhost at this location, deploying certificate to virtual host. Please choose whether or not to redirect HTTP to HTTPS. Yes, redirect. And by the way, this is going to be the default in the coming versions. So yes, so it says congratulations, you have the certificate enabled and HTTP is enabled for this. Very good. I can verify it through HTTPS, and I can also show you what all changes certbot has done. It has downloaded some certificates and it has placed them in these special locations which I mentioned in the previous video. This is the certificate and this is the key file, right? And what changes it has made to conf.d vhost.conf. It has added some rewrite rules to the cat virtual host, which is okay, and it has also created a LetsEncrypt ssl.conf, and inside that it has created a completely new virtual host for 443. The server name is cat.demo.wbit.com, which is supposed to be the same. And here in this it has used some SSL certificate directives, some file locations for certificate and private key, and it is loading some ciphers etc. from another config file. Right, so it has done all of this, and it has also restarted the Apache server. So what I should do is, when it says congratulations, I should be able to access it using curl and also through browser. So what I'll do is I'll do curl this thing, and I see a response from port 443. So port 443 is not blocked, but I see certificate error. Alright, let's see in the browser. So I'll open incognito mode browser because I don't want to cache these certificates. Alright, so let's type cat.demo.wbit.com. On plain HTTP, it should get redirected, which it has. It shows me a certificate error. I choose to advance, show advanced information, then I choose to proceed, and I see the correct content. This is a cat, yes, but I see that the certificate is invalid, and it says the correct common name, but it says that issued by fake LetsEncrypt immediate x1, which is what I expect because it's a staging certificate. So this whole thing means that I can talk to LetsEncrypt. So LetsEncrypt is issuing me certificate which I asked for, and it is being placed at the correct location. So everything works, right? So what I can do is I can request another certificate for dog.demo.wbit.com. I'll press Control L to clear the screen. I'll run certbot again, but this time I'm going to provide dog.demo.wbit.com as an argument here, right? Press enter. So it doesn't ask me which virtual host I want to certificate for, just because I've already provided that here. It just asks me whether I want redirection or not. Yes, please. And it says yes, you have enabled dog as well, and it has a separate certificate. You see, it's under the same directory, but it's a separate certificate, and it has modified the files as well. So just let's do a quick check on vhosts, and now we see dog also has the vhost modified, and LetsEncrypt.ssl has actually two sections, two if module sections. Sorry, this is one which is for virtual host 443 for cat with the related certificate file paths, and this is the second module for virtual host 443. This time it is for dog, and these are the related certificate files for this virtual host. Very good. So I should be able to access dog on HTTPS, right? Just like cat, and I should get a certificate error, and I see that. If I go to the browser, where's the browser? Did I close it? Oh, I closed it already. Alright, new browser, incognito mode. I'll type in doc.demo.wbitt.com, and I see redirection, I see certificate error. I proceed, and I see an invalid certificate which is issued by fake LetsEncrypt intermediate X1, which is okay. It's a staging certificate. Now this time, so we see that everything is working, so we can actually get a production certificate for these, right? So what I'll do is I'll also show you certbot certificates command, which shows you, oops, what did I do? Oh, this is my local computer, sorry. Screen clear. Certbot certificates, and this time it shows me that it has found 2 certificates. Both of them are invalid, but they are issued to these virtual hosts, these FQDNs, these domain names, and these are their separate file locations. So all this information is there. Now I want to revoke these certificates. So revocation means they will be deleted from the server, and they will also be deleted from my local computer, right? Okay, so revoke -- cert name, this one, enter. Okay, of course, because this certificate is coming in from staging, so I have to provide an identifier that this is a staging certificate. Yes, I'm sure that I want to delete it. Very good. And then I also want to revoke the dog certificate. Very good. Yes. So if I clear the screen, you see that the certificates are gone. I clear the screen and I do certbot certificates. I don't see any certificates here. But I do have a problem because the files still have the directives. So what I can do is I can actually simply remove /etc httpd conf.d vhost, not vhost, this LetsEncrypt, because I'm going to get the production certificates, and LetsEncrypt will happily recreate this file for me. Okay, and I'm going to edit the httpd conf.d vhost.conf, and I see some redirection rules, but they are not going to be they are not going to be harmful for me, so I'm just going to leave them as it is. Right, so we have actually tested the staging certificate, and we are happy with the results. So we follow this guide, and we see invalid certificates, and it's now time to get production certificates using HTTP challenge. So the only difference is first we delete the existing invalid certificates or revoke them, and then we run the certbot command again. The only difference is this time it doesn't contain the test cert directive. That's it. So I'm going to do the certbot run Apache for cat. Start with cat, remove the test cert, right? Press enter. It gets the certificate, obtaining a new certificate, deploying it, created this file, so we are good. Enable redirection, yes please. Now there's a red colored line, it says enhancement redirect was already set, and that is what I showed you, so it doesn't matter. It says you have successfully enabled this. And I also want to show you the log files. Every time LetsEncrypt certbot runs, it starts saving files to this log file, and every time it runs it creates a new log file, and the previous files get a different name every time. I'll show you that in a moment. First let's check this happy cat. Go to the terminal and curl HTTPS cat, which was giving us certificate error before. This time it should not. Hooray, it works. Right, so if I go to incognito mode, Control Shift N, and I don't know why it disappears. Okay, I type in cat.demo.wbitt.com and I see a regular padlock. I don't see any SSL errors. I see everything working correctly. I see the right content. I click on this, I see a certificate which is valid, and I see it's issued to correct virtual host, issued by LetsEncrypt authority X3, which is what I expected. Very good. So I now have a production certificate, right? And if I do on my server, if I do screen clear and do a certbot certificates, I should see a valid certificate which is valid for 89 days, because minus 1 day, which is today. So it's a valid certificate. Very good. Log files, list /vars log /LetsEncrypt. I don't know why they have called it LetsEncrypt, but anyhow. So these are all the log files which I have been creating since yesterday or day before yesterday. You see the latest one is the bottommost one. Every time you run certbot, it will create a new file, and in this file you will see all the communication between certbot and the LetsEncrypt server. So this is just the displaying of the certificates .1. No, let's check .3. .log.3, sorry. And that is where it revoked. Alright, I revoked some certificates. .1 was requesting, it should say something, should say requesting for some domain, but anyhow, it's all of this is there. It's requesting the production API server, that is important, sending GET request to the production server. This is production. How I see it's production, because it doesn't have the word staging in it. So this is getting a production certificate, and it says all of this here for cat.demo.wbitt.com and lots of log. Alright, good enough. Just wanted to show you where it exists. Right, let's go back to our guide. So we did certbot, we got the new production certificate for cat, demo.wbitt.com. we can do the same for dog. Let's try dog right now on my terminal. Remember, we have deleted certificates and dog has a problem, and on plain HTTP it just says redirect because we have not removed the redirect directives. But if I do jump box, which I have not touched so far, I get the plain HTTP output, which is correct. If I do HTTPS, I still see SSL errors because it's a self-signed certificate. That's a general certificate being issued to everyone. All right, let's start with I'm distracted. All right, where were we? Yeah, we have done cat. We wanted to get certificate for dog, which is screen clear. Yes, so if I don't use -d, it will show you a familiar screen by asking you what certificate you want. This is certbot run Apache preferred challenge HTTP. This Apache will help you put adjust this Apache helps certbot to adjust the configuration files after it gets the certificate. All right, so this time I want to get the certificate for dog, and yes, redirect, okay, good. And if I check dog again, sorry, that's HTTP, that's being redirected, HTTPS. Oh, it works, no errors. And do I have incognito mode? I don't think I need to show you incognito every now and then, but anyhow, dog.this, and you see no errors. This is a separate certificate issued by LetsEncrypt. So if we check the list of certificates on the server, you will see 2 certificates, and both of them would be valid, right? Valid for 89 days. These are 2 separate certificates located or placed in 2 different files. Very good. Let's go back to our guide. This one. Okay, we have this. We can do certificate renewal. This is important because now we have our production certificates in place and they will expire in 89 days. So how are we going to renew them? The simple thing is you just do certbot renew without worrying about anything. When you run certbot renew, it tries to renew first checks if any certificate is due for renewal. It says no, so it doesn't do anything, and we don't get locked out by LetsEncrypt because it's not doing anything. All right, so that is one tip for you. So certbot renew, you can run it again and again. The best way to run it again and again is to run it in a cron job, and just ignore these lines. So this line says at 5:34 run certbot every day. At 5:34 run certbot renew, and when it is successful, then simply restart Apache. Now LetsEncrypt people say that you should actually use a very random hour and minute here of the day. So you could use 3:21, 11:09 or whatever. Everybody should use a different time for their cron entry, just to randomize all the millions of people trying to bombard their servers for certificate requests. All right, so this is the cron tab entry, very simple one, and it will just take care of all the renewals. Very good. Now we go to get certificates using DNS challenge. This is interesting. Before that, I'm going to revoke the 2 certificates I have, because I don't want to get into trouble with LetsEncrypt. So I'm going to do revoke. I want to remain under my limit of 5 per hour. Certbot revoke dash dash, I forgot the command, dash dash cert name, and I give it the name of the certificate, which is here, and it will ask for confirmation, yes, and then I revoke the doc certificate, yes, and I'm going to reset the virtual host file. So I'm going to remove the LetsEncrypt SSL file, and I'm going to copy, I have a vhost file in root, so I'll just overwrite it, and I'll do Apache restart. So I'm back to 0. If I do curl on dog, I get a dog. If I do curl on plain HTTP for cat, I get cat, and all that. There's no HTTPS, right? And we are going to use the wildcard certificate. So we have reset the files. Yeah, so our certbot needs to talk to the DNS server, as I mentioned in the previous video. Whenever it gets a DNS challenge from certbot, LetsEncrypt certificate server. So since my DNS zone is in route 53, what I will do is I will create a key pair for a special user, and I will provide my server with that information so certbot can use that. There are 2 ways to do it. Either you can create a config file. For AWS, it's going to be under the home directory of the user.aws/config, and I'm going to put the key files there. Or I can do an export on the environment variables. But this is not going to be very useful, because this will only remain valid for the terminal session, and the cron jobs afterwards will not be able to find this information, and renewal using DNS challenge will fail. So it's best to have it in the config file. Just make sure that it has restricted permissions and no one else on the system has access to these files. I mean, you should be careful about to whom do you give the sudo privileges, because they can then just log in and see these files. Alright, for your ease of understanding, I'm going to create a user. I have a user. I'm going to assign it some keys. I'm going to download the file, and I'm also going to view it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into my server, edit this file, config. It has the entries from the previous run which are not valid anymore. Remove them. I'm going to copy and paste them here. And here. Very good. Save and exit. Verify that it has restricted permissions and it's under root, so only root can get in, or super users or other sudo users. Right, so I don't need this screen anymore. Right, you all see this key, right? Very good. Now my certbot should be able to use this information. So let's check the guide. What is the command to get certificate using the DNS challenge? And remember, I'm first trying to do the dry run, which will just talk to the server and see if everything works. without actually getting any type of server. So here I'm running a cert only command for the certbot, dry run. Preferred challenges is DNS this time, and I'm using the DNS plugin Route 53 because my domain is on Route 53. There are many DNS plugins available for your distribution, and I'm going to provide the domain name, the wildcard domain name for which I want the wildcard SSL certificate. And just for fun, I can just show you yum search certbot, just for the sake of completion, that there are many DNS plugins. All of these are DNS plugins for your DNS, right? You just need to install them, whatever you are using. All right, let's go back to the guide. Let's copy this command and execute this on the server by clearing the screen and then executing it. Credentials found in this config file, and it says dry run was successful, which is good news. And I should not have any certificates as yet. Good. So I am ready to get the staging certificates. So I will do test cert, and remember, with the DNS Route 53 I cannot use the run command, so I am limited to using the cert only command. Alright, so I type this certbot cert only test the certificate, which is get the test certificate using the DNS challenge. With this DNS provider, this wildcard certificate is being requested. Right, very good, congratulations, your certificate chain has been saved. It doesn't say that I have modified your Apache configurations or whatsoever. It has simply created the certificate, and I can do two things. I can list this file which exists, which points to somewhere else, which is not my problem, because that is how certbot manages its files within this tree. But most importantly, I can check the list of certificates, and I see that I have a certificate against my domain name, which is a wildcard. So this is a wildcard certificate. It is invalid as a test cert because it is coming in from a staging server. Very good. So this also works. So if I configure Apache, this will work, right? But I will be wasting your time by going through the same tests again. So what I will do is I will just simply revoke this certificate and go for the production certificate, and then I will modify the Apache configurations once and for all. So I will say revoke. Oh, I don't need it anymore. Revoke means two things. Two things will happen. It will be deleted from my computer local server. It will also be removed from the LetsEncrypt server. Revoke this thing. No. Revoke, this is a staging server, so revoke staging dash cert name is this. Revoke, yes. I can verify, no more certificates here. Very good. So this time I can do a cert only. Let me clear the screen because you can't see it correctly. I can do the cert only without the test cert part, right? For the same wildcard domain, press enter. It talks to the production server. It gets me the certificate. Congratulations. It has not given me any error, so that means the certificate has arrived. If I check the certificates now, I should see a valid certificate for my domain, which is a wildcard certificate, valid for 89 days, of course. So now I'm ready to configure my Apache configurations, right? So let's do that. etc httpd conf.d/vhosts.conf, and this is a plain HTTP version. It doesn't have any redirections. So what I'll do is I will copy the rewrite lines and I will paste them in every virtual host section. Oops, what did I do? Nothing. All right, this is not cat, and I don't want redirection for this virtual host because we are just dealing with this one. So this is jump box, and then I paste that here again. This is cat, this is cat, paste it here again, change that to dog. Very good. So now I have 3 virtual hosts configured for redirection. I need this file, yeah, which I already have, I think, but I can just copy paste this. So I can first do vi, this thing, new file, copy paste all of this, because 3 virtual hosts, I can't type them. So we have virtual host 443 for cat. The certificate is demo.wbitt.com, correct. Then we have server name dog, which is demo, and the virtual host is also, the document root is also dog. This is cat, cat, and cat, and dog, and dog. The certificate file is going to be the same for all virtual hosts which have the same domain name. That is why this exercise. Jump box, and the same certificate. Very good. Going to save and exit. So my configuration is ready. I have a valid certificate. I have Apache configuration for vhosts. I have Apache SSL configuration for the same vhosts as well. So all I need to do is system control restart HTTPD, which works. If I just want to be super sure, I can do a status. It works. I'll clear the screen. I will check what? Yeah, I need to check the certificates. So I'll go to terminal, my trusted terminal, and I'll do HTTPS cat. It works. HTTPS dog. It works. HTTPS jump box. It works. All of them work. No SSL errors. I will start an incognito browser session. I will type in cat, and it works. This is a valid certificate issued to us 4 or 5 minutes ago. So this is the same certificate. If I type in dog, I see the certificate, and notice this time the common name is *demo.wbitt.com, which is the wildcard certificate issued by the LetsEncrypt production certificate server or environment, right? So it works. All of this works. So we have verified that this works, and auto renewal is already in place. There is no separate mechanism for HTTP or DNS challenges. Auto renewal is the same for both, so it's already there. Certbot's logs, we have also talked about them. Revoking the certificate, we have also talked about them. So just to be done with this whole exercise, I'm going to revoke the certificate. This time it is not a staging certificate, so I don't need to provide the word staging. I'm going to remove this certificate both from my computer, my server, and from the LetsEncrypt server. Very good, very good. No servers, no certificates remaining. Lovely. So we have successfully finished this exercise, so to speak. We have configured Apache with individual SSL certificates using HTTPS challenge, and we have also obtained and configured the wildcards SSL certificates using DNS challenge. Both work, and it's great. So this is how it works. All right, so I think it's time to stop. Let's hope that we see each other again in some other video. Hopefully this would be helpful to you. Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bye bye.